Manuel Ugarte improves United in 3 specific areas. The first is when pressing aggressively high up the pitch in the opposition's half or defensive third, anticipating when passes are going to be played into the midfield, usually square horizontal passes, from where Ugarte is one of the best ball-winning central midfielders I've seen, at jumping out of the midfield line quickly and being able to shut down the opposition player receiving the ball with a tackle or a block, whilst also being able to make interceptions from these types of square passes as well, or reading passes in between the lines. And just by looking at his defensive section of his FBref report over the past 365 days, you can see that the sheer volume of his defensive output is insane when it comes to making tackles, stopping dribblers and making interceptions. However, as you can see from his dribblers tackled success rate, even though he is a very high volume tackler, at times he can overcommit. However, I do think they can coach this out of his game, making him a lot less erratic with his game, and that's naturally going to happen as he ages as well, because remember, he is still only 23. But before I come on to the other 2 areas where I think Ugarte will improve United, if you want to check out any of the new season jerseys, go over to Jersey FIFA. They've also got the club and international retro jerseys as well. If you use code Atlantis at checkout, you'll get a discount. A link will be in my Instagram bio, which I will leave linked in the description. Now, the second area where I think Ugarte improves United is when the opposition are looking to transition the attack quickly, as when it comes to his recovery ability, Ugarte is far more athletic and quicker than Casemiro, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted United to initially sign Amadou Onana, because of his ability to eat up the ground with his long legs. And whilst I don't think Ugarte is as good in this regard, he can definitely do it better than Casemiro. As whilst the Brazilian's legs has somewhat recovered from last season, I still wouldn't say Casemiro is at the level of Onana or even Ugarte when it comes to being a ground-eating ball-winning midfielder who has the athleticism to constantly be racing back and stopping counters with crunching tackles throughout the game. Now, if there is a player in his vicinity, Casemiro has shown this season that he can stop the attack with a well-timed tackle, and I do think he's been a lot less rash than he was last season. However, when the opposition break quickly through the middle third, Ugarte is just going to be far better at racing back before looking to put in a sliding tackle to halt the attack, which should improve United's rest defence, with Ugarte adding some athleticism in that 2-2, 2-3 or even a 1-3 rest defence shape. Now, before I come on to the third area where Ugarte would improve United, where does Ugarte need to improve himself? Well, like Casemiro, he needs to be less rash when he moves into tackles, but as I've said, I think that can be coached out of him, and I do think he'll naturally develop this ability to read when he should dive in and when he should hold his ground as he gets older. But it's also no secret that Ugarte specialises out of possession, and he is essentially a younger version of Casemiro. However, in possession, I do think he is actually quite underrated, even though this is definitely the area of his game that he does need to improve on most. And if you look at his passing metrics, you can see that he actually ranks pretty highly for the percentage of his long and medium passes that he completes, and from the eye test, I actually think he may be better than Casemiro when it comes to playing those short first-time bounce passes when dropping deep with his back to goal in the build-up phase. However, Casemiro is definitely the better creative passer in the middle and final third, and we saw this against Manchester City as just some of the passes that Casemiro pulled off. I just can't really see Ugarte being able to pull that sort of creativity off at this stage in his career, and so you could describe him as a bit more limited than Casemiro at the moment. But in regards to those shorter bounce passes, to be fair to Casemiro, United as a row, I think we need to see this bounce pass from the keeper into Ugarte and out to the fullback a lot more. But why is this? Well, when Ugarte will look to drop deeper in the defensive third, moving towards Onana with his back to the opposition's goal, this is also going to drag an opposition player high up the pitch. And so if Onana and Ugarte can successfully pull off these 2 passes, the first being Onana vertically playing the pass into Ugarte, and then a horizontal pass from Ugarte out to the fullback, now the opposition midfielder, having squeezed up the pitch, has left a massive amount of space in behind, and United can now exploit this space that he has vacated. Whereas if Ugarte, or whoever the deep single pivot is, does not drop to the edge of his own box, then this space isn't going to be created, and if Onana goes long rather than looking to play through the press, then United aren't going to be able to exploit this space anyway. And so bringing Ugarte in alone isn't going to solve United's build-up issues, as I think that comes down to the whole build-up strategy rather than one individual player. But the third area where I think Ugarte improves United is when we get to the stage of a game where neither side has full control of possession. The play is stretched and there's a lot of turnovers in the centre of the pitch. Imagine midway through a second half bringing on Casemiro alongside Ugarte to play alongside mainly with Bruno Fernandes as a part of the front three, moving into central positions with maybe 2 of Rashford or Garnacho ahead. That is going to give United a massive advantage when it comes to winning 50-50s and loose balls in the centre of the pitch, which is then going to allow United to transition the attack quickly when they regain possession, working the ball into Bruno Fernandes in a higher position to then look to release the forwards in behind. And so out of possession, when pressing the opposition high in their own half, Ugarte's ability to jump out assertively and make an interception, block or tackle is going to massively improve United's press. In the rest defence, because Ugarte is quicker and overall a better athlete compared with Casemiro, that is going to improve United's ability to stop attacks before they reach their defensive third. And finally, when the game is stretched, usually in the second half, Ugarte's ability to win second and loose balls is going to enable Ten Hag's side to obviously regain possession more often, but also attack directly, taking advantage of the chaotic state of the game. But long term, is Ugarte what United need in central midfield? Because Mainu and Bruno Fernandes will surely be starters over the next few seasons, and so in theory, this midfield three should be good enough for United to win the title. However, it's just not that simple, because of course you don't create a title winner midfield with just 3 players. You need not only quality in depth in case of injuries or for rotation purposes, but also a variety of different skill sets to maximise your tactical versatility. I think later on in games when United are trying to hold on to a lead, bringing on Casemiro for Mainu alongside Ugarte, as well as Mount on for Ahmad, is going to give United 2 incredibly aggressive ball winners in midfield, alongside Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount, 2 very hard-working and positionally intelligent midfielders. For example, against a side with an energetic, overlapping fullback, Ten Hag could use a 4-2-3-1 with a deep single pivot of Ugarte and Casemiro, sitting in front and protecting the centre-backs, with Fernandes ahead and Mason Mount as a defensively disciplined right winger, tracking the runs of the fullback, and even dropping into the back line in what would resemble a right wing-back position in a back 5 when needed to as well. On the other hand, if the opposition are dangerous when transitioning the attack quickly through the centre of the pitch, Ten Hag could use a midfield diamond with Casemiro at the base, Bruno Fernandes at the top and Mount and Ugarte either side. Where we're in possession, both Ugarte and Mount can retain deeper and wider positions when the space is vacated by the fullbacks, with all 3 of Mason Mount, Casemiro and Ugarte able to pick up the ball from deep positions and look to not only progress it forward like a quarterback, but also provide some control in possession, allowing United to reduce the amount of turnovers there are when they have the lead and want to slow down the tempo of play, with United picking up a 2-3 rest defence that provides a lot more protection against the counter-attack than the 1-3 or the 3-1 rest defence shape that we often see United use under Ten Hag. The extra player in the back line alongside having Casemiro and Ugarte in deeper positions should work to shore up the centre of the pitch for United and stop the opposition slicing through us when the game gets stretched. However, I also think that Ugarte could be utilised effectively from an offensive point of view, either at the start of the game or if United need a goal later on. See, with Ten Hag looking to press incredibly aggressively and also looking to utilise a counter press, Ugarte's high volume defensive output could be used as a pressing weapon. When United look to press the opposition during their build-up phase in their defensive third, rather than Ugarte sitting deep alongside Mainu, Ten Hag can instruct him to push up behind the front 2, looking to pressurise and you give him some pressing freedom, pushing higher up the pitch where he can win the ball, but crucially win the ball in dangerous positions around the opposition's box, rather than further up the pitch in the middle third. Although saying this, I am working on a theory about why Ten Hag should maybe sometimes actually restrain his press until the middle third, and I will explain why that is. So if you want to see that tactical breakdown, let me know in the comments, but also remember to check out my Patreon articles. I have got a few articles out and you can get a 7-day free trial as well, so try that out. I'll leave that linked in the description.